Hey everyone, I'm Nick.
I'm Vic.
And we're MV Board Gaming. Today we're taking a look at Circadians First Light. It is a 1-to-4 player game published by Renegade Game Studios, designed by Shem Phillips and S.J. McDonald. Vic's going to give you a brief overview of what the game plays like, and then we'll be back with our review.
Hey there, and welcome to our overview of how to play Circadians First Light. So this game, you have encountered a planet, there are life forms that you need to negotiate with, you're collecting samples to send back home, and you need security, you need to be able to be in this planet and be safe. So how do you do that? Well, this is a game of dice placement. So in this you have dice and you're going to be assigning them to different areas on the board with the certain values that the space calls for in order to get certain items. So you can do things like access the laboratory, to get tiles on your board here that when you do the harvest function, it'll be enhanced in some way, like getting an extra resource or adding victory points at the end of the game for the end game scoring. There's a foundry where you can upgrade tiles for your ship so that when you put the dice out, you get added abilities and or extra victory points. The control room lets you move your ship around in this planetary map here in the middle, where your ring that you have here, this hexagon, I think it is, wherever you move this around according to your player color, when you stop, each time you harvest, you're going to get that whatever's depicted in the space that your token outlines. So each round you're going to get that. So you want to move your ship using certain dice to move in a certain direction, and there's a cost that you pay. For every one of these spots that you stop at, you do pay a resource, be it water, power, algae, or the crystals. There will always be something to pay for. You can go to the market, switch up, trade your resources there. The mining camp lets you get crystals, and the academy allows you to recruit more dice. Now there's a limit. You can only have 5 maximum dice. This player board here shows you that you can have 5 max dice and 8 maximum item cards. And the item cards are these guys right here. You start with 3 of them, and you'll draft those with your opponent. So you pass them back and forth, and you'll determine which ones you start with there. The game is done in phases, and I'll also mention too, at the beginning of the game, you'll pick between 2 character cards with different abilities. So this one, for instance, lets you gain an additional reward when you go up here and do this depository action. But I didn't discuss that space yet, but you go there, you put the appropriate dice, so whatever it calls for, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, put it down, and then you're able to just take the bonus action at the end, move around on the planet, or get an extra dice, or get 2 action cards. Headquarters, if you stop there, you put your dice down, and you are actually reserving dice for the next round and picking up a quick either 2 action cards, items, or 5 water. So that's what happens there. So yeah, that's the person's ability. You get an additional bonus item at the depository. My opponent here, they have, whenever they go to the negotiation board to place a dice down, they get to pay a less of a cost. So 1 less gem, 2 less power, 3 less algae. Now this board here, there's 3 characters here that you're trying to negotiate with. You're giving them what they're looking for, the quantities that are depicted on this board. You put a certain dice down, and if the sum of those dice exceeds 8 or is equal to 8, then there's a negative effect. But if not, you'll grab the dice that you put down. So if you took a 6, for instance, you'll take that if it's available, this little peg, and you'll move it over to an advancement side. But of course, like I mentioned, when you are past 8 or there's different conditions that each column meets by too many people assigning dice there, you do get a setback. And that's another action, an area of the board. So the phases of the game begin like this. You plan by rolling your dice. You're going to have the event card. The game is driven by events, and when you get to the end, that's when the game ends. There's for the 2-player game, we have 8 event cards in total, so we reveal a new one at the beginning of each round. We roll the dice. In secret here, we take our little dividers. On this side, I have an example, and you actually don't reveal till everybody has assigned where they're going to put their dice out for that round. So they'll place it at the top of their board, and they'll have to decide where they want to send it out. If they put it at the top, if they take their dice and they put it down in the laboratory tile area, then they're going to take advantage of getting some resources during the harvest. If they put their dice in any of these top locations with the algae on top, they must pay that algae cost in order to put that dice out. If you can't pay, just put your dice on the cantina spot and you can get 2 water that way. So that's what you'll do. You'll roll, assign your dice, and then execute the actions one at a time once you've put your dice out. And then you're gaining your resources from your harvesting wherever your token has been and where your laboratory tiles are. You take your dice back from the locations as long as they're not up in the depository or this negotiation area, because those ones stay out there. They're permanently there. And you pass the start marker back and forth, and then a new round begins. And like I said, when you run out of those event cards, the game is over, and whoever has the most victory points, and they can get those through the upgrades, the laboratory, these victory points assigned here, reaching one of these outer areas, you flip over the tile, and it's a surprise at the end how many victory points it's worth. There are ways to actually cheat and take a look and see what victory points lie beneath these external tiles by negotiating with Yarick over here with the crystals. So these have different abilities that you can also get when you negotiate. I didn't mention, but I'll let you check that out yourself. That's the gist of how you play this game, and we'll get to our review.
Hey, welcome back for our review of Circadians First Light. This game, the dice placement game, Vic give you a nice rundown of what basically you're doing in this game. Actually, when I first got this game, or when I was first looking at it, I didn't care for the artwork on the box.
Oh, yeah.
But playing it, it looks fine. It looks good on the table. I like the way this looks. That's good. I like the blues and all the colors on the table. I like the logos of these folks right here. I don't know. It actually looks pretty good once I got to the table. I didn't really care for the box art. Pros. A lot of consideration in your decisions in this game.
Meaningful stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and careful considerations. I mean, you're paying. We would call it kelp all the time. It's algae. We're paying algae to get these vehicles out of our garage, so you can't just load up on these half the time because you don't have the algae to do it, and you might not have the algae to do the actions you're trying to do. So you're trying to think.
After you spent it to take the thing.
Yeah, you're trying to think. Okay, I'm gonna be down 1 or 3 algae, and I need all that algae to do said action. Maybe it was the laboratory or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of consideration of what effects your actions are going to take before you actually do the things you want to do. Will you still have those resources? The market, very nice. I actually wouldn't mind some spot to actually just go to a spot and get the stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking that when we were playing last, if there was a place I could go to get something right away, boom. But no.
But no, they didn't make it that easy, which is fine. It just, a lot of games would do that. It's okay. This doesn't. You just got to know that going in. Mm-hmm. You got to plan to harvest things or go to the market if you need something different. Mm-hmm. I like the movement on the board. I like these pieces. I like that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Little cluttered. It's a smaller board. That's okay because you have all these little things out here, and you have your own board. You have the depository, negotiation. These things kind of remind me of Crystal Palace, just having these things all over. Yeah, just having these things all over the board. They're double-sided, so different player counts in some situations. The Academy wouldn't matter, I don't think. Yeah, this one is the same player count in all of them. But a lot of them have different player counts listed on them. So if you're playing solo, it might be one side, or 3 to 4 players might be one side. So it scales in that fashion. I like the player abilities. They're very unique, very powerful in some cases, not so powerful in other cases. But there are some that stand out. What's your favorite part of the game, Vic?
I really like the appeal of the game, like the colors of it. I like all the decisions you have to make. And as Nick said, you have to put a lot of thought towards every part of what you're doing. The order of the dice you're putting down, if you can pay for the stuff, what your opponent is up to, and the fact that you're hiding your placements until you reveal them. That's really fun. I found that the quality of the components is really good. It doesn't feel like it was a cheap production. And there's just a lot of choices, and I always like something with interesting choices. It's fun to roll dice and be able to manipulate the dice as well with the plus minus on some of the upgrades in your garage. I like that, and I enjoy the harvesting and moving your piece around, and it's just a very clever game that way. Do you think that there's anything that you would fix or any issues you foresee with the game?
Yeah, and I'll get into that. I think I'll talk about maybe my favorite thing of the game is the decisions I have to make as far as, do I spend my stuff on items that I have? Do I want to put those items to use? Those items are very reminiscent of Architects of the West Kingdom, which makes sense. Same designers, but they're identical. You spend you got the cards, you spend the resources, now you have that card, and you might have an ongoing ability with that card. That decision of, do I want to do the items or do I want to do negotiations and use my resources that way? Those score you a lot of points. They're not as fun, I would say, as having an item that you can reference, but it's still very powerful and rewarding because you can get those advancements, which is cool, just to have a free advancement. I mean, that's cool.
And even calculating the sum of the dice that are out on the negotiation thing is kind of... Yeah, like thinking about it or trying to get an advancement.
Yeah.
And going, oh, I really want to put down a 4 for that, or...
Yeah, and it's situational. You might want to hover right at the edge of a setback, so your opponent will hit that setback as soon as they hit even a 1. Like, it's like a bird landing on something and crushing everything falling over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and something that Vic asked about what I am worried about this game or a setback, I would say replayability. So we played it 3 times. First time I played it, I had it in the 9s. And second time, I felt like I'm pulling back a little bit. Third time, I was wondering how replayable this game actually is. Because you're doing the same things every game. Yeah, there's different events. Yeah, you can flip over this negotiation board. You can flip to the other side. Okay. I worry about it. But that said, I do love my plays. I have loved my plays of this game. I'm going to give it a positive score. It won't be the 9s, but it'll be an 8-7. So I really do enjoy this game. That's my only gripe is I don't know how replayable this game. I feel like there's going to be gaps in between our plays because I've played it 3 times really quick, and I'm like, I think I've seen everything. And I want to play with more players. I want to play with 3 players would be awesome, or 4 if we do 4, that's fine. And I want to try out different characters. We've tried out 6 between us, or 5 I think because we had doubled one of them. So I would gladly play it again. It's just I worry about the replayability.
Yeah, I would say with the replayability of the game, I could see how that's a concern. I mean, for me, a game like this, it's not like it has a story feature to me that would take away from it, and you are doing a lot of the same stuff. It would be interesting if some of the events that happened really changed the way the game played in certain stages of it, because I feel like it doesn't impact it that much. It's not like they're for particular times of the game, those events, right? They're just kind of random except for the last one that says reveal the gems.
Yeah, it doesn't progress with you. Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So maybe if they did something like that, it might change the way that the game plays. But my score for this game is the same as Nick, an 8.7.
Right on.
I liked it the whole time. There was no tapering off for me. Nick mentioned, starting high and going a little lower. For me, it was always consistently the same. It hasn't, my view of it hasn't changed through the plays that we've had of it. So looking forward to playing it at more players. I love the color of it. I love the look of it. It's a really fun game.
Oh, you know what? There's an ability here about secretly peeking at 2, and I'm curious, is it just, what kind of difference are we talking with these? Because I've seen 8 and I've seen 5 at the low end.
Yeah.
Is it that much of a difference? Let's see. I don't think so. I think high might be 8, low might be 5. And I would like these to mean a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. The high is 8, the low is 4.
Yeah.
There's a 4 in here. So yeah, that 4 is pretty bad, I guess. But there's 2 6s.
He's talking about the gems that are at the on the planet board.
Yeah, these guys.
He was curious what the lowest and highest.
Thanks for translating.
Yeah.
I forget I'm not on camera when I'm down here. When I'm teaching, I'm always
what's he playing with? Seashells?
Yeah. So that's not terribly important either. Although that would have won me the game if I had it just landed on that at the end, but whatever. So she won our last game by 1 point?
1 point.
Yeah. And I didn't land on one of those to harvest. But yeah, overall fun game.
Yeah, we really liked it, recommend it, and if you can pick it up, we would suggest getting it. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more great content. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.